7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Thanks for joining me again. Hey, I'm sitting here next to these Energy 4.1E speakers for a reason, because I'm about to keep rolling on this RCA STS-1230 three-way project, and I figured this is probably the most comparable speaker that I own that I can compare that to once I'm done. Now, it may seem funny because I'm comparing a 12-inch three-way to an 8-inch two-way, but this Energy speaker it's a pretty nice speaker. In today's money, I'm guessing you'd probably, if this was brand new, probably looking at $1,500 a set. Really, there's not a lot online in terms of reviews I could find, old reviews. I did find this one from Hi-Fi Classic, so if you want to check it out, I'll go ahead and put the link in the description. But yeah, basically they had some decent things to say about it. Apparently it's got a pretty good response. Let's see. Yeah, they were $750 a pair back in like 1990, whatever, when these were made. And it says that they did some measurements of these speakers. It says closed mic woofer response produced a composite frequency response within plus minus 2.5 dB from 1,000 to 20,000 hertz. The combined port and woofer cone response was within plus minus 3 dB from 30 to 1,000 hertz. And when we joined this curve with the room response curve, the result was a composite frequency response of plus minus 5.5 dB from 20 to 20,000 hertz, with a moderate dip of about 3 dB at 2,000 hertz. Crossover is at 2,100 hertz. Okay, so, that being said, there's more measurements in here that you can see too. Yeah, basically this is a pretty solid speaker. Not a lot to complain about on this speaker. I've left it completely stock, and yeah, they get loud. They don't distort. They sound very solid. Musically, they're excellent. I've tried them a little bit on home theater, and they work fine with that too. So I think that this is going to be a good competitor for the 12-inch three-way. And that advertised bass response on these, which I believe from Energy is 35 hertz, but like you heard from that review, it's actually like they measured it down to 30. And I can tell you, in this room, it really seems like a bassy speaker. So I'll probably just run a quick frequency sweep of one speaker to see what it's actually like. But yeah, it's a solid speaker, so that's why I am going to compare it to the other ones that I'm building. And that project I've got to keep rocking on. So I just wanted to start that process of assembly by showing you kind of what my competition is going to be. So I'll be kind of direct comparing these two speakers because they're kind of equivalent, say, capability. As far as cost goes, obviously not the same cost. Even by today's standards, you'd probably pay more for a used set of these speakers than you would to build these speakers. Anyway, all right, well, I'm gonna get started on the RCAs. Bunch of stuff I have to do on those. You know, wiring up the crossovers, the drivers, getting all that stuff in place, getting the insulation in there. All right, well, stop the presses. I have got a little problem. So, if any of you following this channel know, on the RCA STS-1230 project, I purchased some Laspada crossovers from eBay. Got a killer deal on them, and that's what's in the cabinets now. That's what I had mocked up the cabinets to begin with and then tested them with. They looked fine. I just had to glue a couple of inductors down. They had loosened up. But what I found while I was working on this, lo and behold, a wire just kind of came loose. So I'll show you what I've got going on. The end of this wire is corroded, and that's right where it meets the printed circuit board. So, trouble in paradise. What are we going to do about that? I already have an idea. Basically, that idea being to utilize the Laspada crossover for its components alone, which is primarily the reason I bought them, because they had, you know, big inductors on them and capacitors, and it looked like a high quality, you know, like high quality components. I did not realize that there was corrosion going on. So I think first step is obviously going to be to pull the crossovers out and take a closer look at where these are connected to the printed circuit board. If it's just something simple, like just this one wire had a bad solder on it and it's not actually corroded, maybe that's just solder, it's a possibility. But yeah, I'll get that out of there, try to figure out what's going on. If it's just the one wire, I'll just fix it. If it looks like it's going to be all the wires, I'll just heat them up, pull them out, try to put new ones in there. Anyway, thanks for hanging in there with me. Man, speaker building, it's full of surprises. I thought I'd make a lot more progress in this, but I'm going to have to pull out these crossovers and find out what's going on now. So stay tuned or stay with me. I'm not sure how much more effort I'm going to put in this today, but we'll see. checking the connections, and honestly, they are sturdy. I think honestly that it was just this one single wire here that was giving me a problem. So right there is the culprit, right here. I'm going to strip back part of that wire just to see what it looks like. But as far as the rest of these wires go, I gave them a really good tug, and I think that they're still on there really tight. Yeah, so I'll be honest with you, I think that is corrosion. So that corrosion there, there's no fixing that. All right, well there you have it, the culprit. So I checked out this crossover and I looked at the wire on the end, and it actually is corroded. So that's the only problem with copper wires, if there is a problem, is that they do corrode. So anything that's exposed will corrode. And so every single one of these terminals here, that light on there, every single one of these terminals, I can, even though they're tight, I can see that the copper is exposed. And honestly, they don't look all that bad, you know, and they're tight. But I really hate to take the chance. You know, I'd hate to take the chance of just fixing this one wire and then putting the thing back in there and having another one break, or just knowing that the sound might be degraded because of the corrosion. You know, whether or not it's on every connection, I don't know. But the components are good components. So I can easily, you know, in the printed circuit board, it looks like it's still in decent shape. It would probably work better without the printed circuit board, to be completely honest with you. But for the sake of expediting this build, I just want to make sure that it's as good as, you know, as good as is reasonable. Let's put it that way. It is a budget build. I didn't pay very much for these crossovers, and I can always build other crossovers or buy other crossovers. So I would like to give this one a try, you know, just like it is now, but I will have to get some new wires on there. So that'll be a project for another day. Thanks again for watching me, and I am sorry that this build didn't wrap up today. That was probably a really high hope, high expectation anyway, because you're bound to run into, you know, little problems that slow you down during a speaker build or a resto mod, or, you know, anything like that. So this is just one of those little things. Take it as it comes, and you know, fix it, put it back in there. It'll be better than before, I think. Yeah, so that's one way to look at it. All right, well, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.